Welcome, everyone. Daryl, thanks for coming through, man. Grant, Brian, Joseph. Oh, Leslie and Lisa. Awesome. Sung, you made it. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for coming through. Chiron or Kieran. Leslie, thanks for coming in the chat here. Okay, so as we're starting to come in here, um, we're trying to get started around 7 o'clock. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit after that, in case there's anyone that wants to log on. I don't want them to miss anything. But if I say anything more important than I do at any other point in tonight, is that we need participation. We need you guys in the chats. That's the way everyone's going to be able to get value out of tonight's webinar. Um, the way that I want you guys to participate right now is I want you to put your states and what your industry is right now. If you're a financial advisor, if you're already in real estate, if you are an insurance broker, real estate agent, wholesaler, CPA, accountant, I need to know what you guys are doing because I can tailor this presentation so that you guys can get the max value out of it. All right. It's 7 o'clock right now. Thanks for coming on in here. I need to know what state you guys are in, and I want to know what kind of business you guys are already working in, either whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a hustler, you're a wholesaler, you're a real estate agent, insurance broker. All right, Rich is in Georgia. He's a builder. Daryl is North Carolina, looking for the next business venture and entrepreneur. Kieran or Chiron is North Carolina commercial real estate project manager. Who got some people from Colorado? Ooh, Lisa, you're already in MLO? This is great. This is great. I'm glad that you're coming on here. West Hills, California. All right, Joseph. You guys are entrepreneurs. I want to know what kind of business you guys are running right now. Hey, Damien, if you could help me out, I think that I want this recording to be in the cloud, and I think I might be up against the storage limit. Can you delete one of the other ones? I downloaded them already. All right, so you're in South Carolina. I'm starting
Okay.
to flip houses. Mobile, Alabama, real estate broker, private money lending. Okay, Mary, fantastic. Are you lending your own money out there, Mary? I also work for the Department of VA and will probably be reduced in force, so I need another stream of income. All right, Grace. Well, this is something that you can pick up pretty quickly, and you can get paid pretty quickly as well. It's really going to be dependent on your effort. And tonight, we're going to go straight into the overview of what this business looks like. We are about 2 minutes past the hour. If you guys are just joining, I want you guys to put your state in the chat and then what you guys are currently doing, either as an entrepreneur or a consultant. Tell me that you're a financial advisor, wholesaler, real estate agent, builder, commercial broker. If you're already in private money lending, I want to understand where you guys are at. Delaware investor, order the $17 book. Hey, thank you so much. Mike, uh, I'll make sure that you get that for sure. I can't do anything about it right at this moment, but I will get you the booklet. All right, Eric, you're in Kentucky. Fantastic. All right, so if you guys never seen me before, my name is Hard Money Gary. I fund real estate deals all across the country, helping business owners build and scale their rental portfolios, as well as get into flipping houses. I do that by helping them get access to hard money and DSCR loans. And tonight, I'm going to break down how I've been able to build a six-figure business out of the fourth bedroom of my house, relying on my existing network and not paying for a single dollar in ad spend to generate this revenue. Um, I'm really passionate about this business. I don't get to talk about it with a whole lot of people. So tonight, when you guys are logged in on here, I want you guys to lock in, be focused. And the only way that everyone's going to get value out of this conversation is if you guys do participate in the chat. I'm going to be breaking into a slideshow and then breaking out of a slideshow to answer any of your questions, and so that everyone can feel like they're getting the most value out of tonight's presentation. Okay, you guys may have been on webinars before, and typically the structure is long, drawn out spiel, force you to wait for 40 minutes, and then at the end, right hook you into a sales pitch. Well, I'm telling you in minute 4 here that this breakdown, what we're going to go over tonight, is an overview of the business. And if you want to take the next step and learn this business from somebody that's been doing it for 3 years and built a business out of the fourth bedroom of a house, in a six-figure business, doing this and helping other people build and scale their rental portfolios and get into the flipping business, then stick to the end tonight. But if you're not looking to invest anything at all, then you simply want to learn, the only thing I ask of you is that you participate in the chat and get as much value as you can out of tonight. We're going to be talking about hard money loans, DSCR loans, the Burr process, and how to make money, understanding the principles of the Burr strategy, and facilitating our either existing client base or building a brand new client base off of a product that will never run dry and will never be out of style. All right. So if you're just joining here, go ahead and put your state in the chat and what you guys are currently doing, whether it's in real estate, financial services, consulting. I want to know so we can tailor this for you. Okay. All right, so let's jump right in. Tonight we're going to be talking about how to make money as a broker. I'm definitely doing the puns on here, uh, because we're going to be talking about the Burr strategy. That's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat, the most popular strategy for real estate investors to be able to build and scale their rental portfolios. And I'm going to be talking about how to leverage that strategy and helping us get paid commissions by helping our clients do what they were going to do anyway. Why not have them work with us? Okay. So you might be thinking to yourself, what is a loan broker? I mean, it's not a term that really anyone's throwing around. It's really not all that talked about. But here's how I like to think of it, that I'm the plug, I'm the guy, I'm the one helping people get what they need. All I got to do is follow through with the paperwork, make sure that the lender gets what they need, title gets what they need, and we're collecting everything else in the process. We streamline it for the client, give them a great over-the-top experience, and then we get paid 1 to 3% of the loan amount. Now, 1 to 3% doesn't really sound like all that much, but if you think in your mind of a typical home sale in your area, let's say you're in the Midwest where it's Ohio, and fix and flip projects are ranging anywhere from 75 to 110,000 on the buy side. People are putting 40 to $50,000 worth of renovation into it, and it retails for 225 or more. You can capture 1%, 2% of that loan amount. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not out of the realm of possibility to earn 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, $4,000 checks on the regular just by helping other people do what they were going to do anyway. So I saw a bunch of people in here that already listed that they're in real estate, they're wholesaling, or they're real estate brokers. You know who's buying properties. If they're not buying a property from you, then why not fund their deal? It's a great way to keep up with your clients and have an added service so that they can keep you in top of mind and they don't go to another wholesaler, or they don't end up being your competition directly. Okay, so who am I? My name is Hard Money Gary Brown. First and foremost, I'm a husband and father. I don't sacrifice my time to earn a check. This business allows me to be able to spend the time that I want with my kids and dictate my schedule and work at the pace that I like to work at. And I can do this from the fourth bedroom of my house in 46 of the 50 states. I cut my teeth and got into the business back in 2018, working for wholesalers. So I understood and mastered the transaction of negotiating contracts with sellers, walking the properties, learning how to properly evaluate a deal from a buy side and then intuitively being able to sell that contract to a buyer, market that property, work out the kinks, get deals to the finish line. After you do enough of those and you understand the pieces of the process, you start to see where everyone else plays a role. And if you do this even more effectively, then you can be more of a transaction coordinator, keeping people accountable to their timelines, understanding where certain pieces are coming, being able to see certain problems ahead before they actually happen, and being able to maneuver around those. Those are a special skill set that you develop when you're in this transaction. I bought my first two rental properties in 2018. I cheated. I was close to the action anyway. I was already working with wholesalers, so we got properties under contract. So when I had access to the deals, I needed to figure out a way to close on it. So I got a hard money loan. This was my first foray into hard money, was actually getting hard money myself. I had met a guy at a meetup and he seemed to fund everyone else's deals at that meetup and he took a chance on me. He saw my good credit and that I could find, another 20K to throw in myself on the deal, and he trusted the deal. He was willing to take it over if I was going to fail. So we signed it. It was 12 and a half, I think, percent and 4 points. Thinking back, I kind of overpaid for the money, but it was available. And so what he made off of that deal was he made those 4.5 points of the $75,000 loan that he uh, wrote to me. And then he earned interest payments while I paid him over the course of the project until I paid him off. So and speaking of paying him off, I then went to a DSCR lender, so a debt service coverage ratio loan, and I paid off the hard money lender, and I had improved the property so much so through my contractors and being able to source a good deal up front. I put $20,000 worth of work into it, and it went from being worth $54,000 when I found it to an appraisal value of 120,000 when we went to refinance. And I was able to pull cash out, pay off my hard money lender, and I guess what? I actually took another private loan from a rich friend of mine and was able to be in the deal for $0 of my own money. And when you guys take the next step and work with me this upcoming week, I'm going to show you how to put that strategy in action for your clients as well. All right. So, uh, in I opened up my own company for specifically brokering hard money loans and DSCR loans in 2023. And I made $105,000 worth of commissions just from the brokering. That's not wholesaling. That's not my rental properties. That's not anything else like that. That's just from the loan brokering. In 2024, I did 165,000. Now in 2025, I can't keep this a secret anymore. I got to tell other wholesalers, real estate agents, financial advisors, insurance agents, insurance brokers, people that have a one-to-one connection with other people that are buying real estate, that they can capitalize on this opportunity by getting them a utility that they were already needing from the jump. Why should they not work with you? Okay, so I went over it a little bit in my about me section, but this is the BRRRR strategy. Okay, it's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. Mastering the art of the BRRRR strategy is going to help you build and scale your clientele base of people that are buying rental properties so that you can help them get hard money up front and a DSCR loan on the back. This is in addition to whatever other service you were providing to them, whether you're a wholesaler, insurance broker, or accountant, CPA. If you're an insurance broker, each one of these closings also is going to require a policy, whether that's a course of construction policy for when they buy and rehab, or a typical hazard policy when they go to refinance. If you could capitalize even more so than just the policy premium commission that you earn, this is a business that just makes absolute sense for you. So when we talk to our clients about the BRRRR strategy, we have to stress upfront that the money is made not when they refinance to pull cash out, but when they buy. This is this whole strategy hinges on being able to find discounted, deeply discounted properties. Just like when I was working with a wholesaler and I was able to pick up my first rental property for $54,000, that was including the $5,000 wholesale fee that I paid. So getting access to deeply discounted properties is the entire game of this strategy. So when you're talking to your clients and you're talking about the BRRRR strategy and you're educating them on how they can build and scale their rental portfolio, up front, you got to explain or figure out they're in their plug, their guy, or are they the person that's getting direct access to distressed deals? The distresses can come from death, medical, divorce, distance, disrepair. So death would be somebody that inherits a property, right? That would be a probate lead. Medical would be a hoarder. They can't live in the house anymore, or somebody that's older and they physically can't get up the stairs and they're trapped by their environment and they want to get out of it, something like that. Distance would be an absentee owner. That would be a landlord that lives in a different state, or you could quickly tell that by public data, but with a mailing address that doesn't match the address that's of the property. Disrepair is like the obvious one. We're looking for disrepair as well. So it's the one with the tarp on the roof or the really rundown house in a great neighborhood. Those are the disrepair properties. And the last one is divorce. That's two people wanting to separate and they got to get rid of a house and their other assets. You lawyers out there, you people that are in on that or have, relationships with people that are a part of that process as well, that's an in. Some of you guys work with residential assisted living facilities, providing them whatever other kind of services, insurances, or you do their taxes. That's a direct pipeline of people that are aging out of their homes or getting needing to get rid of their homes. If you're just driving around looking in your neighborhood and you're trying to find the ugliest house, that's how you would find a distressed property, a disrepair property. The next goal is to rehab it. You got to rehab it so that it's worth more than when you found it. This isn't, just carpet and paints and getting it rent ready. You want to do significant repairs so that you're pushing the value up. So kitchens, bathrooms, mechanicals, we want to be doing things to make the property worth more than when you found it. Once the property's rent ready, then you get a tenant in there and you can show that it's stabilized and providing income. That's where the DSCR loan is going to come into play because that DSCR loan is not based off of somebody's personal income, their tax returns, or uh, anything related to them other than their credit. So it's based off of the property's ability to pay its own debts and fix expenses, not them personally. They can close in their business entity, so it's not on their personal name. It can be completely separate from them. If they're a business owner, this is something that they can use they can effectively use a DSCR loan in order to capture some tax savings at the end of the year if they were profitable. And when they go to refinance, they're using that DSCR loan to hopefully pull cash out. With the ultimate goal being they leave $0 left in the property from their purchase and rehab. But if they are able to access additional revenue, additional equity from the property, then that makes it all the much easier for them to go repeat the process. If they left $0 left in the property, they got their initial investment from what they put down up front, and they can just go do it again. All right, before we go to the next slide, I want to see who's paying attention here. So let's blow this chat up. Let's put some emojis in the chat. We need to get a little bit more excitement because this was just the basics. We're going to get into the good stuff right now. Rick says, "Hey, Gary, this is Rick. I'm a Northern California buy and hold investor looking for another revenue source and access to more capital. Thanks." Guys, go ahead and put some emojis in the chat. Let's blow this thing up. Eric, Luis, Grace, Michelle. If you guys if you guys think that we've already, gotten some value out of the conversation, keep the emojis going here. Lucy's a realtor out of Orlando. Fantastic. Lisa, Lisa, you're the MLO. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? Are you sick and tired of working with John and Susie Homebuyer? And seriously, how many times are John and Susie Homebuyer going to go and buy a house? Once every 7 years? How many times are they going to refinance a house? Same thing, once every 7 years. If you're not being investor forward, investors looking to buy two, three, four, five properties a year, if you're able to help them get access to the hard money loan up front and then the DSCR loan on the back, that's two opportunities to earn commissions by helping them do what they were already going to do, which is build and scale their rental portfolio. You just need to be the arm of their business that helps them achieve their goals in the best way possible, helping them get some money. Okay, so if you guys have any questions right now, go ahead and put your questions in the chat. And then once we wrap up with those questions, we're going to jump right into what is hard money, and we're going to break that down and we're going to tie it back in with the Burr process. Remember, the idea of this entire webinar tonight is for you guys to understand how I talk to my clients so that you can talk to your clients that exact same way. And then by the end of the presentation, we're going to talk about moving on to working with our boot camp this next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where we're going to go over everything, how to put this business together. Okay. So if you're starting to think, oh man, who am I thinking of in my mind that I would talk to right now and ask them, hey, do you got a deal coming up? Are you looking at any, I know you buy real estate, but are you looking at buying anything right now? Rick Rivera, seasoning required for DSCR loans to cash out on ARV. So that's a great question. So seasoning is how long do you need to own a property in order for a lender to approve cash out on a property? We with our lender network, we can do it with 90 days of ownership, which is typical if you're starting with hard money and you're buying and rehabbing the property. You're gonna need about 3 months to get it all tip-top shape and put a tenant in there. So 90 days is about the fastest that you can get that done. Any other questions? If you guys have them off top, I'm sure that, when we go through the specific loans, we're gonna have some questions that come up. So you can put them in that spot again as well. Can I borrow money towards the rehab itself? All right, Grace, here we go. All right, so Grace asked, can I get rehab money for the project itself? The answer is yes. So a hard money loan is a real estate investing tool that real estate investors use in order to be able to buy, fix, and flip properties, as well as buy, fix up properties to rent. You get money towards the purchase price, and up to 100% of the rehab budget can be reimbursed to you as you go through the milestones of the project. When we're talking about the Burr strategy, we're we're talking about buy and rehab. That's where we're going to use the hard money loan. With our lender network, we can get them up to 90% of the purchase price and then up to 100% of the rehab budget. All they need to have is a great credit score, 720 or higher, regardless of experience. If they are experienced, if they bought a few properties already, the minimum requirement is three flipped or three bird properties, and they can be eligible for 90% financing of their purchase. There's a lot more that goes into it, and during the boot camp we'll talk about how to quickly analyze a deal and be able to know which lender you're going to pair them with and what documents to collect and all of that. But for the purposes of the webinar tonight, we're talking about what is hard money and how you can make money off of it. So hard money loans are short-term, high-interest loans that your clients do not want to be in very long. Okay, these are short-term. Their typical terms are anywhere from 6 to 12 months. They can go up to 18 months in certain scenarios if it's heavy rehab, but in general, it's from 6 to 12 months. When they're starting to creep up against month 9, month 10, this is where they need to start thinking about selling or refinancing as soon as possible. But the effectiveness of this tool is when you can do exactly what the gentleman that asked about seasoning, when you can be effective with your project management, you can get up to 90% of the purchase price and then 100% reimbursement as you go through the milestones of the project. So if they're effective project manager and they're saying, okay, we're going to knock out 25% of the budget here, next 25%, and then two more to follow. They get it in four draws. They're effective with it. After 90 days, they refinance using a DSCR loan. That's the highest and best use for the hard money loans. Obviously, this is all strategical and real life happens for each deal, but within the window of 3 to 6 months, hard money loans are an excellent tool for the burr strategy. And guess what? They're widely available. Those funds never dry up. You can be flexible on credit when you have experience. You can close in the name of your LLC. There's no tax returns required. And like I said, there's almost infinite amount of money allocated for these projects because lenders understand how, the risk on these deals and the return that they get just by putting out their money. And you can help your clients get access to it. I saw a couple of questions pop up in here. Great question, Grace. Do you do hard money loans for new builds? So yeah, so new builds, we're talking about the burst strategy tonight, and there's not a whole lot of opportunity to do the burst strategy with new builds. It's just the numbers are just too high, and the amount of time that it takes to build a new property, unless you're a master builder, it's not really a burst strategy worthy. You want to build a house and then sell it. But yes, we do hard money loans, and it's structured similarly. But Eric, if you want more information about that, I'm going to put my email address in here at the end and we can connect offline there. Okay. So back to hard money loans. So one of the advantages to working with hard money loans, can we get a slide deck for this presentation, Gary? So Grace, we're going to talk about what the next step looks like and getting inside of the loan broker mastermind where recordings of this webinar and previous webinars will be accessible to you. And then obviously this upcoming week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to be doing the boot camp, doing a deep dive on how to set this business up properly for you so that you can make commissions as soon as possible, leveraging my expertise and potentially even my team to close your deals. Okay, so the advantage to using hard money loans is that you can close quickly. All right. So there's a lot of investors out there that are cash buyers. You wholesalers, you love cash buyers. But the thing is that a lot of cash buyers still close with hard money. You can move as fast as cash. I mean, title still has to be ran on the property. There has to be due diligence on the property. Very rarely is there a situation where you get a property under contract on Monday and you're closing on Wednesday. That's very, very rare, and it would be highly risky of the buyer. Typically, there is some sort of title search done, and that will take about a week and a half to 2 weeks. But in the scenario where you come into the picture where the title search is already done, yes, hard money loans can close as quick as cash. There are lenders that are in my network that can close in as soon as 5 business days. Imagine having one of your clients come to you and say, Gary, I got this property. My lender just bailed on me, said he ran out of money. I need some money by next Thursday. Can you get with me on this? Sure, I can. All right, let me collect some documents. Let me evaluate this deal. Let's talk about it. How much money are you looking to make? What's your credit look like? How much cash do you have? How much do you need to borrow realistically for this project? All right, let's get this thing closed. All right, so that's hard money, guys. Um, let's take a little stretch break. Okay. Take a little stretch break and throw some emojis down in the chat. Let's go. How many of you guys are already having the wheels churning thinking, oh my gosh, I gotta go reach out to Taylor. He's that guy that's always posting about houses on his Facebook. He's like buying houses. What I wonder who's giving him money. Maybe I could be the next guy. All right, Lewis. Ivan, Grant, Mary, let's go. Okay, just need more knowledge. Okay. So a lot of you guys are thinking, all right, Gary, I get it. Like, You explained a little bit about hard money, and I can understand, real estate investors need money, but how is the sauce actually made? How are we actually doing this? Like, what do I need to do specifically in order to get paid, right? Like, that's what everybody wants to know. What do I need to do specifically so that I can get paid? Help my clients. First thing is you change the vernacular to how I get paid to helping my clients. Okay, so this is the loan approval process, okay? You're going to have a conversation about the deal. You're going to run through those questions that I just said quickly off the top, but it's, hey, tell me a little bit about the deal. All right, how much experience do you have? How many times have you done this? How much cash do you have access to right now? How do you plan on making money on this deal? What's credit look like? All right, bing bang boom. You understand the guidelines of the lender that you're looking to work with because you've studied the materials, or you're working with me one on one, or you're in our elite mastermind and you already know the lenders, or you downloaded the exclusive lender guide before you came onto the webinar, so you already know the guidelines that the lenders have, so you can already pre-think about that. Then you go to the lender's website, into your broker portal, you work with their calculator, you come up with the term sheet, you send that over to the client and ask them for, acceptance, and say, hey, does this work for you? Great. This is what I'll need to do next is when you're ready to put in your offer, I'm going to shoot you over a pre-approval letter. You can do that either through email, DocuSign. We'll go over all the tools that I use in my business so that I can do things all virtually. Once you hear that their contract's accepted, because remember, hard money in the purposes of the Burr strategy, when we're being brokers, this is for purchases. Very, very rarely are you going to be doing a hard money loan as a refinance. It does happen. I did a couple of them last year, but it's more common that you're looking at a purchase. All right, so now that you know that the contract's accepted, my biggest advice, at least at stage number three, call everybody that's involved, introduce yourself, say, hey, Matt, I see you're the listing agent on this thing. My name's Gary. I'm going to be brokering the loan. I work with nationwide lenders. Here are the timelines for when we need things done. This is what it looks like as far as what I've seen on the file. We're going to be in communication with title and insurance together. Let's get to the finish line and have a great one. That is, if I could, if you guys just use that as a part of this business, you're going to grow your referral network. That's more free leads to you. That's you putting out there the law of reciprocity where you're giving out and then it's coming back to you. You're giving out value and then it's coming back to you because you're setting the timelines, you're doing what's expected, and you're acting like a pro. Okay. Next is going to be the valuation. So there's a few different types of valuations. Most of the time in my lender network, we're looking at a virtual desktop valuation or a full appraisal. So a virtual desktop is otherwise represented here as a BPO. That's where the real estate agent that's a part of the deal or the buyer specifically is going to get a link to an app where they take pictures, they upload it, it goes straight to the lender's desk. They determine based off of the scope of work that we provided them that the property is going to be worth X amount of dollars once it's all fixed up. And that is the valuation process. It is very important that this process be executed in with speed so that you can meet the timelines of your purchase. And you should have a good idea as to how much the property will be worth before we even get to this point. Because I will let you know now, if a deal's going to blow up, a deal's going to blow up at stage number four. It's not going to blow up at number one. It's not going to blow up at six or seven. It's going to blow up at number four. Because the hard money lender is not going to deny a deal based off of the purchase price. They're going to just require more cash. And they're going to get that cash number from what the property's going to be worth once it's all fixed up. That's the after repair value. Guys, go ahead and put ARV in the chat. ARV is one of the letter salad that you need to know when we're going. That's going to be on day number 1 or 2 this upcoming week, where we'll go over in detail how to be able to analyze a hard money deal within a few minutes and be able to answer a few questions, ask a few questions. Awesome. Grace is paying attention. Ivan, Lisa. Oh, Lisa, I can't wait for you to get in here. Mary, Sean. Deborah, very nice. Okay. Now that the valuation's being been completed, now we know what the property's worth once it's all fixed up. Any adjustments in the terms from what they were up on stage number two, if those are confirmed at the same terms, amazing. That's the goal. That's what we're looking for. If they shifted slightly, if the borrower has to bring a little bit more cash to the table, that's going to happen in stage number five. Then we want to go to our third party partners who we introduced ourselves at stage number three. We're going to go to insurance, we're going to go in title and grab any other additional conditions, make sure that I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and then we're going to get that back to underwriting so we can get the clear to close. Once it's clear to close, that means funds are going to be wired over to title. The closing is scheduled, and we gonna get paid. How much were you getting paid? Well, if we charge 1 point, then for every $100,000, we're going to earn $1,000. I have a minimum loan amount of 150,000. So it's worth my time to do a deal when a loan amount is 150,000. And the reason why I put my minimum there and not at 50,000, 75,000 is because I still want to be competitive with what the nationwide lenders are charging, even with my broker fee included. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, we're going to get into DSCR loans next. People are going to have a lot of questions about DSCR loans. But we're going to pause again with the share for a second here. And okay, so what I need you guys to do is I need you guys to tell me if you're already envisioning yourself talking about hard money loans, because you should have a good understanding as to what they are and what they're priced at and how they're able to go from stage one to stage seven. So if you are getting, are you starting to see the pieces of how hard money plays into the burst strategy? Go ahead and put that in the chat. I'm doing it already, and deals come across my desk every day. Let's go. Ivan says yes, yes. Perfect. Yep. So we've talked about the burst strategy, and that's buy, rehab. So we know that hard money loans are covering the buy and the rehab portion. Now, once our clients are working the burst strategy, they need to get the property rented. They need to get it under contract for lease. So that may be them, it may be a property management company. But at any rate, they need to get the property rented so that it can show some value alternative to their personal income. They close on the property in their business name using the hard money loan. So it's already in their LLC. There's only a few loan types that will close when the property is in a business name. There are conventional loans, there's traditional financing, commercial banking, those types of lenders exist. We are an alternative to that because all of those other loans require some sort of personal asset or personal income verification. You got to require your tax returns to be done. The DSCR loans, it's a debt service coverage ratio loan. So breaking that down, it's measured based off of the property's ability to pay its own debts. Those debts being principal, interest, taxes, insurance, if they're in an HOA neighborhood, or if there's any other fixed expenses by way of flood insurance or something specific to that neighborhood, those are accounted for. This is specifically for the single family 1 to 4 space. DSCR is across the commercial lending industry and it's used for other types. But when I'm talking about DSCR specifically for the BRRRR strategy, we're talking single family 1 to 4s. All right. The purpose here is to pay off the hard money loan that you got up front and put it on permanent financing. When we're talking to our clients about a DSCR loan, they're going to want to talk about interest rates. But here's the thing. I want you guys to adopt this philosophy when it comes to the DSCR loan interest rates because they are higher than their conventional counterparts and their traditional lending counterparts, those ones that I just described that require you to have a longer process and more proof of income to qualify. Yeah, these have a higher rate, but this is based off of cash flow. So if it cash flows, it cash flows. The goal of the burst strategy is not to live off of this income. The goal of the burst strategy is to build and scale a rental portfolio that will eventually be able to appreciate over time, and the cash flow is a bonus. The burst strategy allows you to move with velocity because you're finding distressed properties, you're fixing them up so much so that when you go to refinance, you're pulling out your initial investment, that down payment that you had, that 10% towards the purchase price that you had up front for the hard money loan. If all you need is that 10% plus points, fees, and closing costs, you just need to find that and you can start your next deal. If you're able to access that because you improved the property so much that when you go to refinance, you're pulling that out, that's the repeat. That's the repeat. By the way that you have to phrase this to your clients is that it's tax-free income because it's a loan. It's a loan from the property to you so that you can go and buy more properties. The average cash flow per door in the single family 1 to 4 space right now is anywhere between $200 to $400. To replace someone's income, they'd have to have a lot of doors. So and that is the direct effect of the interest rate. But when we're talking about a DSCR loan, as long as it cash flows, it's going to be approved. That cash flow number is 1.0. If you guys understand what a ratio is, a 1.0, that ain't great. That's breaking even. You do want to see them at a 1.1 or 1.2 or higher. That means that they would be getting 10% or 20% more return each year. But if it cash flows and they're able to get their initial investment back, that's how they're able to go and move forward and go get the next property. That's the repeat portion. Okay. So here's the breakdown of the DSCR loan process. It's different than the hard money loan process because we should have already had all their paperwork. That we're not starting from scratch here. We took their paperwork when we did the hard money loan up front, and a lot of the lenders that I work with in our lender network were doing the hard money and the DSCR loan with the same lender so that we can streamline the process. We can be within that 90 days, or we bounce to whoever has the best pricing at the time. That's the benefit of being a broker. All right, so the refinance, the property's rent ready. They got a tenant in there or a tenant's about to be in there. This could be in month 2 or month 3, month 6. We get them a pre-approval letter. This is based off of their credit and the cash that they have available. We're going to order another appraisal to confirm that ARV that we got before, or maybe it's worth more because, this could have taken a little bit of time and some other properties could have sold in the area that were similar and push the value up just by that. Then it's good after the appraisal's done. This is where the differences between the hard money loan and the DSCR loan. Dating versus married, does this have a big effect on them getting approved with underwriting? What that means, Michelle, when I'm saying dating versus married, is the underwriter for a hard money loan is looking at this like, okay, they got to have a clear exit strategy. If they're only in this for a few months, then they can sell or they can refinance. Married, like this is a 30-year loan. So it's a little bit more of a process when they're underwriting the deal. They're going to take consideration of the comps. They're going to do their due diligence with what the property is renting for in the area because this is permanent financing. They're getting married to the property. The lender is. The the borrower's not getting married to the lender. The lender's getting married to the property, right? Once the underwriting is done, then we go and confirm terms. We grab insurance and the title documents, same process as before, get that cleared, closed, and then we get paid another 1 to 3 points, another 1 to 3% of the loan amount, depending on the size. If you could just help a single client do this process and earn 1% on the front and 1% on the back on a $200,000 loan up front and a $500,000 loan on the back, That's $7,000 that you just captured. Could that go towards marketing? Could that go towards finding another property? Could that fund your lifestyle? Could that help you see a different vision for your business where you are helping your clients build and scale their rental portfolios by getting them access to what they were already needing in the first place? Go ahead and put some ones in the chat if we're paying attention and we're starting to see the vision. Grace is hitting it. Let's go. Lisa, I know. Lisa's already, she's ready to go. She's ready to learn it all. Dwan, Grace, I know. My wife actually made this. She did an iron on. And so this is how she's showing me support tonight. That's what I get. All right, guys, we're bringing it home here. Okay. So if you guys have any questions about what we went over before, we talked about the burst strategy, we talked about hard money, we talked about DSCR loans, we talked about how to find what clients should be looking for when they're trying to find a property, how to leverage the burst strategy the right way. We talked about the timelines for closing on a hard money loan, the timelines for closing for a DSCR loan. Grace says, "Can I do a DSCR and house hack at the same time?" Unfortunately, this is not for owner occupied properties. So the DSCR loan is going to go in the name of your LLC. In order to avoid mortgage fraud, you cannot live in the property when you have a DSCR loan on there. Any other questions before we get started here? Before we get going here, we're going to bring this thing home and talk about what you guys can be looking forward to this upcoming week. All right, let's do it, man. All right, let's take the bird to the next level, and that's getting paid. I told you guys before that I was a wholesaler, I wasn't even the wholesaler. I wasn't even the guy. I was the acquisitions guy that was helping the other investors make money. I would be the one cold calling, going out to the properties, walking the hoarder houses, getting them under contract, negotiating those prices, and then on the back end, finding the buyers and selling those deals to the buyers. I just was doing it with somebody else funding the marketing budget. But I learned the skill set and I got access to my first deal where I used hard money to close and then a DSCR loan to refinance and execute the burst strategy. Because of where I was starting out, I had an existing network of wholesalers, real estate agents, other investors. I went to business meetings and business meetups and found financial advisors and CPAs and accountants and other business owners. When you start talking about money, people start listening. When you start telling people that you have access to money, people won't know who to call. If you're the plug, if you're the connect, if you're the person that's able to get people what they need and you deliver and you give value and service and you hold people accountable to the timelines and you understand what your guidelines are so you don't get into a deal that's going to put you over your skis or put your clients in a bad situation, then you're going to be the one they think of. And really, this business is just about collecting documents and facilitating communication, being the quarterback of a transaction and getting it to close. That's how you get paid. So the top five frequently asked questions about hard money and DSCR loans. These are the things that you need to master when you're talking about hard money and DSCR loans. I will tell you right now, you're not going to make any money or make any commissions brokering these loans without being able to answer any questions. Okay? While I made everything easy to understand, it took years of practice on being able to deliver how to say things and being able to say it over and over again in order to give that kind of certainty. Okay. So let's run through these. What are the key differences between hard money and DSCR loans? Well, hard monies are short-term loans, they're asset-based, while DSCR loans are long-term permanent financing. But they're both based off of the deal. You can close with both in the name of your LLC without having to provide any tax returns or proof of income to qualify. What are the typical interest rates or terms for each loan? We went over that earlier in the presentation. You're looking at anywhere between, it says 8 to 15%. You can buy down, you can borrow less money, you can work with private money lenders that can get that low. Going up as high as 15%, that's a smaller size deal, smaller loan amount to get that 15%. Most of the time we're looking at 10.5 to 13%. While DSCR loans, they're 30-year loans. They go up and down just the same as the other 30-year counterparts. I can tell you right now they're about a point to a point and a half higher than their conventional counterparts, while still holding to the rule if the cash flows, the cash flows. Do DSCR loans require personal income verification? I think we answered that a few times. Nope, no, it doesn't. What is the DSCR ratio? Well, if a cash flow is a cash flows, a 1.0 cash flow would mean that it's breaking even. We want to see a 1.1, a 1.2, 1.3 that would be 10, 20, 30% higher in return than what their fixed expenses are. And when is it appropriate to use hard money versus DSCR loan in the burst strategy? Hey, that's what we've talked about all night tonight. Understanding where the hard money loan comes into play, when the property's rent ready, and then refinancing. This is what we're going to master when you really want to take that sales conversation to the next level. Because here's the thing, I'm going to stop the share for a second so you guys can get me super serious on this. You're going to start telling people that you have access to money. You're going to start telling people that you can get them money for their deals. And a lot of crazy stuff is going to come your way. I know because it's happened to me time and time again, every single day. There's opportunities that come. I turn down a lot more deals than I do. I have to because some of these things just don't fit the box. So we have to adjust here and we have to remember, especially if you guys are wholesalers, we have to this is how I view the business. Okay. The same way as I would be a wholesaler, the same way that I would be as any other consultant. I have two clients on every deal. I have my investor clients who need the money, and I have my lender clients who have the money. Who do I want to favor more in any one deal? Well, I could tell you that there's an investor born every single day. There's a new investor born every single day. And providing a product that is open to newbies, it's okay to lean more in favor on the lender's side. So that's where I came up with, and maybe not even me, but it's the new golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. So you have to act like the lender. So act like it is your money, even if you are the broker. You got to be able to qualify what the opportunity looks like before you even take the next step. So when I showed you that process beforehand in that preliminary conversation, the prelim terms, when we ask those questions, how much are you looking to make on the deal? How long have you been doing this? Do you have how much cash do you have access to? What's your credit look like? Those are the first four questions. Then you're going to need to peel back the onion a little more to see exactly what everything else looks like so that you can qualify the deal. And next week, when we're working through the boot camp, we're going to go through all of that. And then you want to take control. You're the show. You're the one that's getting everybody paid. So everybody should be listening to you, and you're the one setting the rules. You're the one that is dictating the guideline, the timelines, and you're sticking to it. Even as a broker, even as a communication facilitator, you have to understand your guidelines as if you are the lender. All right, and so this is just some proof in the pudding here. How much money can you make? Well, you're making points, percentage of the loan amount. You can see things on here like 2409, 2940, 2928, 3030, 2580, 2681, 2405, 2640. These are all hard money and DSCR loans. Okay. What would one deal, just even one half of the total deal, because this is, one of these is hard money and the other side is the DSCR. So the goal is to treat the client well, have them have an amazing experience up front that they want to use you on the back end. So what would one half of one deal do for you? Go ahead and put that in the comments right now. What would what would you use an extra 3,000, 2,500? What would you put that towards in your existing business or for your lifestyle? What would you do? Is a down payment required when doing a DSCR loan for the purchase? Yes. For the purchase is 20 to 25% down. Exactly. Grace would put it right back into marketing to get more biz. Ivan would use it to free up some more time. Tell me about that, Ivan. What does that mean? How would you be able to free up more time? Are you going to put that to work with someone to put in your place in another business? Reinvest to get more deals. Deborah, what does more deals look like for you? Also, I'll tell you right now that I like to make around 3 grand a deal. There are other brokers that I know that specifically focus on luxury flips. They may do less transactions than I do, but they're doing $1 million flips. Okay, their clients are buying properties for 600,000, 700,000, 800,000. Like I'm doing for my client Taylor down in North Shores, Miami right now. He's buying the house for 929. He's going to put $175,000 into it. He's going to flip that thing for 1.6. If I charge 1 point on the loan amount, I'm going to make 10 grand. Now he's my homie from high school, so we're not going to be at 1 point. I want to make sure that he sees the value that in exchange. He also happens to be the guy that lent me my first 20 grand to get in this business. So why not break him off? We do deals in Hawaii. You can. I don't. You can. How much to join the program? We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that, man. And by the way, guys, I want you guys, I'm making this accessible. So I can answer your question right now, Carlos. It's more than free and less than a nice suit. Okay? More than free and less than a nice suit. Let's throw this up here. What would another 2,500, what would another 3 grand do for you in your business? And what would that allow you to do more else? If you're a wholesaler, you grab another 3 grand to put on postcards, that 3 grand can turn into 20, can turn into another 15. Of course. And you're already doing it. You already know the pieces of the play. You already know how to get the deal to the finish line. Do you want to fund your buyers as well? A little bit of double dipping there. If you work with me one on one, I can show you how to make it work for you and make sense rather than getting in trouble for it. All right. Here's here's the deal, guys. The money on this is never going to dry up. We're working with nationwide institutional lenders who create these notes, these mortgage notes, the hard money and the DSCR notes, and then they sell them to hedge funds and insurance companies on Wall Street. So they're backed by billions and billions of dollars. These are always going to be readily available. We just got to find them the cheeseburger and fries to feed them, and then that's how the money machine gets to spit out in your favor. When you put yourself in a niche like this, you can become an expert at creating clients, not deal chasing. You're creating clients. You're developing somebody that's going to want to work with you over and over and over again. This isn't John and Susie Homebuyer that's going to buy a house once every 7 years. This isn't going to be that same type of client that's going to refinance a house every 7 years. That's not a sustainable business. That's you chasing leads, 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 rather than having effectively no marketing budget and still being able to do five to $10,000 a month. Each deal can make you $2,500 or more. And shoot, like I was saying, you could just focus on luxury flips and luxury burrs, charge 1 point and earn up to $10,000, maybe even more. It's a highly profitable business. All you need is a phone and a laptop if you have an existing network. And I know Daryl, we chatted online before we got in here, and he talked about, well, what about paid ads? You need to do paid ads. Well, if you don't have an existing network and you can't find yourself to go out to meetups, you can't go belly to belly to chambers of commerce and tell people what you're doing, then yeah, you're gonna have to figure out a way to get traffic to come to you. In the boot camp, I'm going to show you how I did it through Facebook groups, the messages that I would send out and how successful they were and things like that. But talked about that soon. The next steps here is the broker challenge. We're going to master the broker method. On day 2, we're going to get the templates for successful business structure. On day 3, we're going to talk about how to find lenders, how to find clients and the lenders. You're going to get my lenders from day 1. But if you needed to find new ones on how to talk to them, how to vet them, understand their processes, see if they're a super broker or not. And then on the last day, we're going to talk about taking this nationwide like a pro. All right. When you guys join the broker boot camp, you're going to get free access to my school. And because this is the first season of me running the the broker mastermind, if you guys get in here, then you're going to get access for lifetime. We're moving this to $47 a month tomorrow. So if you guys want to take advantage of this and get into the school group, now would be the time. Over the next 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to do an hour each day from 1 o'clock p.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And we're going to break down each day the strategy, cover it on how you can make 2,500, 5,000, maybe even 10,000 in a single deal. That's going over the strategy on how to sell hard money and DSCR loans, where to find clients, how to structure your business, how to quickly evaluate a deal, how to qualify, how to take control of the conversation and to take control of the transaction. And then after you complete the boot camp, then you will be able to get access to use my processor to close your deal. That is what I would have wanted when I broke into this business. So a processor that was trained up already, and all I had to do was collect that initial paperwork and then turn it over, wait for the deal to go to the finish line, and then get paid. I just need you to go through the boot camp in order to get you access to that. Okay? That's the first step, is going through the boot camp so that you know what you're selling, so that you know what where to find clients, so that you know how to market your business, so that when we take over, my processor takes over and gets it to the finish line, then you can get paid. We got some questions. Okay, thanks. Okay, sorry, I jumped the gun. All right. If you guys do have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. All right. So I kind of was talking about this before, but regardless of just one deal, what would another $5,000 to $10,000 each month from just a couple of deals that you were already going to be doing anyway, if you're a wholesaler or if you're a real estate agent, adding this in to be maybe the best team member that your brokerage has ever had, maybe exploding your team in a different direction, going investor forward so that you have constant transactions going. What would this do for your business? Go ahead and put that in the chat. What would another $5,000 to $10,000 do for your existing real estate business or financial consulting business? Allow me to buy more properties. Exactly. If you want to be able to go and do the BRRRR strategy yourself, there's no better way to learn what a good deal looks like than being on the lending side, especially when you get to see all the other deals that are going on in your area. All right. So how many people do you know right now that are actively buying real estate, fixing it up, they're fixing flippers, or they're buying rental properties? How many people do you know right now, just that you can think of? There's 38 people in here. I need to see a little bit more participation. You guys know at least one person that's buying real estate, or else you wouldn't be on this call. I got to be honest. You know somebody. So go ahead, put a 2 in the chat if you know somebody that's already buying real estate because you got to be having a person in mind of who you're going to be talking to in order to make this make sense. Bobby, Ivan, Michelle. Exactly, Carlos. Michelle's like, I work with flippers daily. And what are you doing for them right now, Michelle? Are you a real estate agent? Rick Rivera says, yeah. Okay, Michelle, you're you can list their flips and help them get money for their deals, whether they're on market or on off market up front. Exactly, or list what they flip. You can be a part of their transactions on the front end or the back end. And we do deals also. Seems like this is a perfect fit for you. Well, I can tell you that this business changed my life because it exploded the law of reciprocity. When I started to being able to give to other people and provide value and be able to give the knowledge that I have, especially when I started to market myself on TikTok and on Instagram and on Facebook and getting my name out there, so many opportunities came to me that it wasn't even just about the brokering anymore. It was just about, hey, can I get Rick to connect with Michelle? Because I know that Rick's doing this over here. He's an insurance guy and Michelle, she's title, so I need to be able to help them get connected. Or maybe this guy that I know, he specializes in buying foreclosure deals. This other wholesaler came to me and said, "Hey, I need a buyer for this pre-foreclosure deal. Do you know anyone?" This is how you can make it make sense. You can fund the buyers. How did you learn this business? Do you have a mentor? How did you find the sources of capital? Rich Fee. So I learned this business uh, I, I started in real estate back in 2018 as a wholesaler. So that's where I was able to see the different pieces of the transaction and who was all getting paid. Now, a little bit of advantage that I had was that I grew up with my dad being a mortgage broker. So I knew that being in between the people with money and the people that need money and helping them get access to each other can create a lifestyle for yourself. Funding your own deal is not illegal, but you, why would you pay? You don't need to fund your own deal. You don't like you can just work with your wholesale lend. You can work with the lender on a wholesale basis, but you don't want to pay yourself points. That's just a mess. But getting back to your question, did I have a mentor for this business specifically for loan brokering? What I did is what a lot of other people do in other types of roles is I knew the wholesale transaction, so I knew enough to be dangerous about the real estate play. Then I went and found somebody that had a business set up that was brokering loans like this. I learned the process, developed a book of business, and went out on my own. Now, having known that that's a common journey, I want to help you skip a step. You don't have to go and learn somebody else's process or anything like that. You can learn the process from me. I'm going to deliver it to you. And then the only piece that's missing, I'll tell you the straight shoot. That brokerage that I was working with, it wasn't a good relationship because I was sourcing my own clients, I was processing my own deals, and I was paying them 60% of the commission. Wherein I'm going to teach you how to do everything and keep 100% of your commission if you want. And once you go through the boot camp and you know all of the phases of the business and how to do this, then you can see the processing that my team can provide for you as a service cost to the business that actually is the deliverable. We'll talk about that more, what that looks like. But anyone that's in sales right now, or anyone that has a transaction coordinator, anyone that has a support staff or customer care or uh, what's it called? Customer success managers understand that those have just as much of making the sausage as the sales on the front end. And it's really good when you can marry the two. Okay. So we talked about this all night. We kind of set the stage here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 1 o'clock Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing each at an hour a day for the broker challenge. Before we get in here, I want to remind you that this is an opportunity where you can make 2,500, 3,000, 2,000 on your first deal, first half of your first deal. Okay? So how much to get in? For tonight, we're doing only 197. Okay? So I'm going to drop if Damien can get the link in the chat, we'll get you guys all set up here. Here is the link. Everyone should have that. Should look like this. Click on the link here, 197. You go ahead and put in, and then we'll get you access to the school group. That school group already has some people looking to get in here. We got 7 memberships pending. We might deny a couple of those if they didn't go, if they're not ready to go through the boot camp. Like I said, tomorrow we're changing the pricing to $47 a month. There's already 121 people in here. They got to get to level 2 to get access to all of the courses that I have available. So they got to start participating, or they won't be able to get access to it. In here is the Hard Money and DSCR Loan Basics course. This is essentially going to be day 1 of the broker boot camp, where we talk about hard money and DSCR loans in detail, how to evaluate a deal. Then we're gonna I have recordings of previous DSCR loan boot camps, loan broker boot camp that I already did, so you'll have access to that. But this is more or less going to be day number 2 and 3. Live recordings of this webinar, previous webinars, and any TikTok lives that I do where I directly answer borrower questions. All of my TikTok lives are basically borrower facing. So in order to talk the talk and walk the walk, you should understand how to do it from a pro and being able to study and watch the pro how he talks, if you know what I'm saying. And then the mini course here, this is what we're going to be developing. And you guys, and the reason why the broker bootcamp is only at 197 is because you guys are going to help me develop this loan broker mini course so that when we do have the $47 a month paywall, then people come inside and get real value out of it. And they'll be able to go through the broker mini course and be able to get up to the next step. But you guys being on the group calls this upcoming week, that's where you're going to be able to really set up the business and be in hyper speed to making commissions. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and hit the raise hand button. We can bring you up here. As a reminder, it's only 197. If that's too much for you, then there's other businesses that you can try and bootstrap. I'm trying to keep it as affordable as possible. It's not free, but it's less than a nice suit. So we are selling money. You can see the potential. This is just after collecting some paperwork and making sure that everything else lines up. Yes. Is this a one-time payment for lifetime access, no monthly charge? Correct. You'll at least be able to get into the loan broker mastermind school for free lifetime with everything else that comes recording with it. But the most value is going to be from being the on the boot camp. If you guys can't make it from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern, Monday through Thursday, I understand it will be recorded. If that is you, then maybe we can figure out an arrangement so that you can get some over the top, maybe a one-on-one call with me after the boot camp is over so that we can evaluate where your business is and how and what advantages you can bring to the marketplace. But if you guys do have any questions, go ahead and hit the raise hand button. I want to bring you up to talk. We got 24 people in here. It's hard for me to believe that you guys don't have any questions at all. Otherwise, Go ahead and put an emoji if you're already in. Mike Ferry. Hey, Mike,
Hey,
what's going on, man? Where are you
I
coming from tonight?
yeah, I'm in Delaware.
Oh, sweet. I'm in the Philly area,
Yeah,
like
yeah, right
neighbors.
right on the beaches.
Hmm.
So yeah, so uh my question is about the lender network because
Mhm.
I work I know I used to be in the 90s. I used to work in mortgage banking and work with a few investors, but I have a lot of loan officer friends, and we were always doing BCD money. So I
Mhm.
still get calls. Hey, you have any creative lenders or ways that we can get this deal done because they can't go conventional. So how extensive is this network? I looked at the boot camp, and it looks like there's ways to talk to lenders, but I'd really like to understand what that looks like and what we have access to.
Okay. So thanks, Mike.
Yep,
And I'm gonna just lower your hand back there, and I'll remove. I'll answer your question. Hope that's okay.
sure.
All right. So the lender network. Great question, Mike. I have made it my business to only work with four funds, and those four funds allow me to provide for quick approvals, consistent pricing, and nationwide coverage. So within that, they have their specifics, whether they like to close quickly. Their highest strength is being able to close within 5 to 7 days, or they have the widest range of product coverage, whether they do single family 1 to 4s, Airbnbs, mixed use and commercial. Lastly, would be what kind of paperwork is required in order to submit a loan to them, and then ones with flexible credit and highest leverage. So within those four funds, I know that I can provide a solution for the typical BRRRR strategy. And so with having those few lenders in my network, that allows me to be a master qualifier for the deals that I want to do. Remember, this business is about developing clients. So there are clients that come to you with less than stellar credit. Well, you need a referral partner to help them get better credit so that you can approve them for higher quality loans and higher loan to value and quicker approvals. So that comes in with working with any mentorship group is only worth as much as the network that that person brings to it. That's a fantastic question. Lewis, let's bring you up here, man. Lewis, where are you coming from and what are you doing currently in for business?
Hey, Gary, thanks for putting this call on.
Yeah.
I'm in Orlando. I'm a realtor. I've worked with hard money lenders. My question was, do you do about a lot of business here in Florida? As your lenders, I know you see your lenders are nationwide. A lot of my properties and deals that come across my desk are Texas, Florida, the Carolinas, Tennessee, kind of the Sun Belt. So,
Okay. What are you currently doing right now?
I'm a realtor,
Okay.
but
And you're
I'm not a
licensed
full
in
time. I still have a 9 to 5.
okay. Are you
Yeah.
licensed in those states or just in Florida?
Just in Florida. Yeah.
Okay. So Florida has tremendous opportunity in Orlando, up to Jacksonville, North and Central Florida. That's where and Damien, who's on the call, he's actually in Florida as well. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, I'm doing a deal in North Shores, Miami right now. That's the $1 million flip that we're in the process of. There's plenty of opportunity all over the state of Florida. Maybe for burrs, it's a little bit tighter, but flipping is still, really good in Florida. And finding people that are looking to buy properties in Florida, not hard to find.
All right.
So the leads are plentiful. Do you have any other questions?
And your lenders, like your lender list, are they like
Oh yeah, the only
they
states that I don't have covered are North Dakota, South Dakota, Alaska, and Hawaii. I know that
okay.
there's somebody that was asking about Hawaii. Uh, there are lenders for Hawaii, and we can help you get access to that. Uh, it's just I don't choose to work with Hawaii because of the time difference. I'm on the East Coast.
Got you. No, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Thanks for coming up here. Can I count on you to be on the inside for next week?
I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna lock in now. I'm gonna check out now.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to it. All right, Jose. I'm gonna pull you up here. What are you doing right now? And what question do you have, Jose? Jose, you asked about underwriting in the chat here. If you can unmute yourself, then we can get your question answered.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Well, I mentioned I've done mortgages. I did uh, banker broker. So we, operated. So I used to set up some operations where I'd set up accounts with the different lenders where you would come in and so I guess it's similar per se where you set up your accounts with every individual lender
Hmm.
and then you have their guidelines as you were I mentioned pre-underwriting is basically what I felt you were talking about to see how you fit the pie
Yeah.
together to submit for approval.
Absolutely. So
And so
Jose, that is the quintessential art of what we're doing is during that initial conversation that we have with any borrower when we're looking to take them on as a client, we are pre-underwriting. We're wanting to make sure that where their credit is, how much cash they have access to, what their existing network looks like, what their deal flow, anticipated deal flow, how they're going to be able to get access to discounted properties. Those are the things that we're pre-underwriting up front. And then as the deal is concerned, that's where, you can give things the sniff test based off of the guidelines that are from the lender network for sure. What are you currently doing right now?
well I was teaching for foreign investors how to
Okay,
invest in the US market for
nice.
EB5s and I've started to seek out for veterans. There's a lot of benefits for veterans, so that's another marketplace where I'm connecting with different lenders. Helping people along, helping myself along, and question is, what are your pricings? Are is it a point, 2 points, half a point? What's your variation? What's your sweet spot? To
Yeah,
have.
so I'll get that answered, and thanks for coming up here. Um, so the way that I price things out for my clients is in total points. Okay, so I want to be as competitive with my nationwide lender counterparts on pricing at all times. I don't need them competing with me. So the wholesale relationship that you get as being a part of their broker network or being a third party originator, they give you that wholesale pricing. So I don't want my broker fee to break a deal. Okay. So I try to stick within 12% and 3 points for fix and flip funding. That allows me to have a minimum floor of $150,000 loan amount, charge 2 points so that the total is three, and then I earn the 3 grand that I like to make on a deal. Sometimes it comes in a little less, sometimes it's a little bit more, but focusing on the types of properties and the market that comes to me with, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, and Texas, we're seeing more pricing in the 150 to $300,000 loan amount size. So I can be at 2 or 1 point, depending on what my relationship looks like with the client, and still earn my $3,000 fee. So that's the goal there. All right, guys. So if you have any other questions, um, go ahead and put them in the chat. Let's put the link one more time here in the chat, and we're gonna wrap this thing up here before 8:30. For those of you that want to get geared up for the boot camp next week. Show of hands, or not show of hands, a show of emojis. Who's already on the inside? Who's already made the investment in themselves to take this business on seriously and look at what the next 4 days are going to look like. All right, Mike, thanks for coming on in. Grace is here. Perfect. Lewis, amazing. I want to see, 19 other people join up as a reminder. What you're effectively doing is you're getting in the school group, so you're going to have recordings and access to all the templates and materials throughout the boot camp, and for lifetime access, which will be going up to $47 a month tomorrow for exclusive pricing. Then, once you complete the boot camp, that will then qualify you to get access to my processor so that we can close your deals for you. There's a massive leap that happens in learning how to coordinate a deal to the finish line on that first deal to your 10th deal. If you don't, it's going to take a little bit of time to be able to develop that reputation or be able to get in front of the right person. If you don't already have that person in mind that's already buying properties, if you don't already have access to them and being able to add this as an over the top, like the real estate agent that's already working with flippers, I mean, she's ready to go. Lisa, who's an MLO, I don't know if she dipped. She should be coming in here. Heading to the link now. We'll reach out. Might be tough to join boot camp live. Thanks, Gary. Rick, I want to make it worth your while. We're going to have the recordings in there. But if you do join up and you can't make it live, let's make sure that we at least get on a one-on-one call so that I know how you can take this business seriously and move on to the next level. Question, 150K is your min loan amount. Is that the amount you set yourself? What is the absolute min loan amount for a hard money loan? So we have lenders that will do, 50 or $75,000 loans. It is in that case, if I take it on, then the client's got to be stellar, the deal's got to be great, or a smooth transaction, because I'll tell you, it's the same amount of work to get a deal to the finish line for 75,000 as it is for 750,000. So I'd rather focus on the opportunities that are in higher loan amounts so that I can provide value and that my broker fee isn't going over the top. You shouldn't charge yourself short when just because you're doing a low value deal. This is the same thing as when a wholesaler is like, just because you can pick up a property for $5,000 doesn't mean that the investor next to you wants to buy it for 15. It might just be worth 5,000. No problem, Grace. Okay, so we're nearing the end here. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. If you want to come up and talk, Mike wants to talk again. Let's go this Mike.
Uh,
Mike?
yeah. Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned in the chat, I ordered the $17 book, and then I
Mhm.
just signed up for the boot camp, but I'm not getting the emails in my Comcast email. I just looked over there. I see the receipt. I did Amazon Pay. The receipt's over in my Gmail,
Mhm.
but all the links and the emails, I don't see them in Comcast.
Okay. Well, I'm actively doing the webinar, so I'm not behind the scenes able to get that for you,
Yeah.
but I
No,
will put my email in here, Gary@GershamLoans.com. And
yeah,
so,
let me copy that, and then if it doesn't come in the next hour, then I'll shoot you an email.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, either Damien and I will get you in there, but if once we see it, then you will be getting texts and you should be getting emails to, either not only join the school, but get ready for tomorrow's live session from 1 to 2.
Okay. All right. Can you throw that email in there? Your email?
Yeah, it's in the chat right now, Gary@GershamLoans.com.
Oh, where? Hmm. You just I just see thanks, Gary, the last one from Gracie Neiman.
Okay.
What's That's the last chat I see, or the last
Okay.
text. Right below your link to the boot camp.
All right, there we go. Should be in everyone now.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
Awesome. All right, Mike. Thanks for coming up again.
Cool. Thanks.
All right, guys. So we got 16 people hanging out in here. I'd love to see who else is maybe on the fence. If there's anything that you guys are kind of insecure about, if you think that 197 might not be worth it, I have to remind you that if 197 is the barrier for you, then this might not be the time. It might not be the time. I can tell you that the what we're going to be breaking down over the next 4 days is something that you can use in supplement to your existing business, or you can break into the business brand new. And with a little bit of effort, your first deal can be worth 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, potentially $10,000 for you. Is this a get rich quick scheme? Absolutely not. This is something that you need to be able to invest some time in and be able to learn a skill set so that you can deliver value. Remember, you're going to be the most important person in the transaction when you take on this loan broker role. You're going to be qualified to talk to lenders, title companies, insurance companies, real estate agents, wholesalers, buyers, potentially sellers, not so much sellers, but buyers, of course. You're going to be making sure that everyone gets paid. So if you can't handle being the quarterback and getting things across the finish line, getting the tush push, if it isn't you going across the goal line, this might not be the business for you. You need to be one that can command the transaction, that can master the role of qualification and being able to help people get to the finish line. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in a real estate deal. Without being able to see them ahead of time, it's going to create for a longer learning period for you. What my aim is to help you be able to see things before they happen, but ultimately by going through the boot camp, you'll be eligible to use my processor to be able to close your deals for you and expedite that learning process so that you can just have this more of a plug and play for you. There's going to be some work that you have to do up front, but it's something where if you can understand the pieces and how the deal looks, you can collect some paperwork, you can turn it over, then we go from there. All right. Let's get this link in the chat one more time. It's going to be tomorrow. Okay. It's going to be tomorrow through Thursday, Monday through Thursday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern. There will be recordings in the school group. Okay. But it could be on a day or two delay. If you want to get things live, join. If the time is holding you up, let's make sure that we do get you some value. You'll be able to get a one-on-one call with me at the end of the boot camp after everything's been uploaded, and we'll talk about how you can take that next step. All right, guys, it's been a great call and great webinar this evening. I put my email in the chat. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and feel free to shoot me an email there. I'll be able to get back to you. I'm looking forward to working with you guys on a live boot camp starting tomorrow. Take care.